This channel is not intended for children.
Well, hi guys, thanks for coming back. I certainly appreciate it. Hope y'all have had a great week. I had a pretty easy week this past week. I worked over the Thanksgiving weekend and wasn't a lot of freight moving, so I didn't have to work real hard. Anyway, so what about a story for today? What about life's lessons? I've got a lesson for you that I experienced myself on, I had a little trip to the hospital. Let me tell you about that and some things that I learned from it. And I don't have all the answers for why bad things happen to good people, because we could be here for a long, long time with something like that. But I just want to share you this little story and my attitude to the whole situation, and maybe it'll be an encouragement to you when you face things that are a little odd, okay? I like to hunt, and I'm out hunting. It was about 7 years ago this time of year. I've been out hunting quite a bit, walking a long ways back in the woods, climbing tree stands and those kind of things. And I had a nerve, what I thought was a sciatic nerve in my leg bothering me. And so you know how you are, you go to WebMD and things like that, you look it up and you find out what the symptoms are and what to do about it. Well, that's what I was doing. And so I was following my own Dr. Buddy method of getting things fixed. And so wasn't doing too good anyway. And one day a buddy of mine was over at the house and we pushed snow together and we were just visiting. And I went to sit down in my man chair and my leg snapped. And I did just something in there just messed up. Didn't know what it was. It didn't hurt, but it felt funny. And so we decided to go buy some salt for our business. And so he tried to help me up. He said, "I can't get you out of your chair." Well, you got to understand, at that time, I weighed 296 pounds. I was a bit heavier than I am now. And so wife came home later, a little bit, and the two of them were able to get me out of my chair, and my leg was shorter than it had been. And what happened is that femur had broken. Well, I didn't know it, and it had twisted out. My foot was out to the side and retracted back up toward my hip a little bit. And so went to the doctor, wife took me over to the clinic, and they said, "We found out what's wrong with your leg. You got a broken femur. Are you in any pain?" "No, not in any pain at all." "Oh, really? We're going to send you to the hospital and let them set your leg." Get over to the hospital to set my leg, and nobody's setting my leg. And they're all walking around with puzzled looks on their face and asking if I'm in any pain. I was in any pain? What kind of pain did I have? And, all the questions they ask. And for about 4 days, I didn't know what was going on. I only spent 5 weeks in the hospital, okay? I became a resident down there. So my cardiologist came in one day. He says, "Hey, man, did they ever tell you what's going on with your leg?" I said, "No, just broken. That's all they've done. They haven't set it or anything." He said, "Yeah, they're not going to set it until they find out what kind of cancer you got." And he said, "So no one's told you about the cancer?" "No, not a word." He said, "Yeah, you got cancer." He said, "So we're going to figure out what it is, and then we'll go from there and see how to deal with your leg." And so through the process, I learned some things about my health. If I'd go out hunting with my buddies and we would have to walk up a long hill, I'd have to stop a time or two and take a break. And come to find out, it's because my heart was bad. And that was one of the things we found out when I went into the hospital with a broken leg. I got a bad heart. We also found out I had blood clots in my legs and then some in my lungs. And I had I was diabetic, and I didn't know these things. And so it's a blessing that leg broke, so that we could find out all these other things and deal with them. At one time I was on insulin. I've done some things to get off of it, a little diet change, a little exercise. I got off insulin and I could drive a truck, something I love doing. But I had a positive attitude this whole experience. Had a doctor walk into the ER and I couldn't breathe. And he said, "We found out what your problem is." He said, "You got blood clots in your lungs. You need to spend time with your family." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "So you're a doctor, right?" "Well, of course." "And you know what the problem is?" "Yes." I said, "It's time for you to clock in and go to work and figure out what we're going to do about this, because it's not my time to die." He turned to me, he said, "You just need to spend time with your family, okay?" So there my wife and one of our daughters they were on one side of the bed and on the other, and we were making funeral plans. Can you believe that? Making funeral plans. That's something that's difficult to do when you're laying there in bed and they're telling you you're fixing to die. and we're having to make funeral plans. So they came to take me to X-ray, and they brought me back in. They put me someplace else, in a little isolation room. And when I was in that isolation room, I became close to death. And I told the respiratory therapist that was with me, I said, man, I'm dying. I can't breathe. And I said, it's getting worse, and I'm going to die. And he looked at me. He said, well, I don't know. I said, well, do something. So he did a couple of little things. First one didn't work. The second one did. And I was able to breathe. It took care of those blood clots that were in my lungs. What an amazing thing. And I was shocked. The doctor came in and said, you're okay. I said, yeah, I told you I'm not going to die. But you need to figure out what's going on and fix it. He said, okay. And then he had the right attitude. He joined the team. He decided he's going to work and get things figured out for me. And so the doctors that I've had have been really good and helped me with my heart and get that kind of stuff squared away. And I'm glad for that. My diabetes is under control now. The blood clots are under control. And if I had not broken that femur, if I hadn't had cancer, that's another thing. I'm cancer-free. After 7 years, I'm still cancer-free. I went back to the oncologist a few months ago and found out I was still cancer-free. So I've got a lot of good things to be happy about and praise God for. And I think a lot of it had to do with my attitude that, hey, it's not time to clock out yet. There was one time that they had done a lot of biopsies, and I had a big hematoma. And the doctor walked in one day after he took the x-rays of it and found out what was going on. And he had a team of doctors with him and said, unplug that bed, we're taking him to surgery. And we all went, what? So took me into surgery. Apparently I about died back in surgery because when I was in ICU, they rolled me into ICU after surgery. And normally you get people in ICU and they're what? 3, 4 people at a time? No, they were 6 and 8 people at a time coming in my room. And the room got full. And when I realized where I was at and how many people were in there, I'm thinking, this isn't a good thing. This isn't good at all. But I kept up a positive attitude. I was laughing and cutting up and just trying to have a good time and cheer people up because they all had such sad faces. And you know what? I made it through all of that. And I'm glad I did, because if not, I wouldn't have been here with you. And I enjoy what I'm doing here on this channel. I just want to give you this story to encourage you to keep a positive attitude about life in general. There's a lot of things that happen to us in life that we question, and we even question God on. Sometimes we get mad at him about it because we just don't know. Well, we're not as big as him, okay? We're not going to understand everything. But keep a positive attitude and outlook on life, and for the most part, things work out pretty good. I have a couple friends who have gone through cancer and have had a very positive attitude. A buddy of mine, Al, he had the same attitude that I had with my the heart doctor, the cardiologist. He had the same attitude with his oncologist. It gave him real bad news, months to live. And he said, okay, what are we going to do about this? And he beat it. He beat cancer. And they've only given a few months to live. Isn't that fantastic? And it's our attitude many times that we need to have it adjusted to get us through things in life, situations in life. I've got another friend I went to high school with, and he kept getting multiple types of cancer, and he didn't make it. But he touched so many lives in the hospital because he was just an encourager, and he would encourage people. And it probably did well. I don't know. But I sent him a message. I said, that may be your ministry right there, man. And he said, I think so. And he went on to heaven. He passed away. But the lives that he was able to touch while he was in infusion and going through all that stuff was probably remarkable. And so I just want to encourage you, if you're in one of the life situations that you're wondering why, just keep a positive outlook on it and just see what's going to happen with it. Have a positive attitude. All right, I'm done with the story. Guys, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. If you like the channel, subscribe. Hit the little bell down there for a reminder. And since I only do these once a week. And if you have a story, send me your story of encouragement or a life lesson that you've had. I'll narrate that. We'll get it on the channel and share it with others. And so that'll be a positive outreach to them, and and you can share that. You can send that to me at this email address. It's buddysampley5@gmail.com, and I'll be sure to get that out for you. And I've got a subscriber who sent me some one-liners that I'm going to be putting in, and so I'll run through those, and I'll probably may recycle some of them. So, guys, thank you for stopping by. Hope you've had a great week. I hope you have a great week coming up, and I'll see you down the road, okay? Thanks.